Yo, Still Bills, what's the dizzle, man? Yo, peep game though, man. I was just listening to my man, Real Talk Boxing. You know, salute to him, man. He makes dope content, man. But he actually touched on a good point, man. And despite is Malik Scott doing Deontay Wilder any favors? Is he helping him improve in any way, shape, or form? Is he advancing him mentally? From a physical standpoint, he honestly has Deontay Wilder looking a lot better than he's ever looked before. Now, credit to him, credit to Wilder, he actually humbled himself and he wants to look better. He's been talking that we going back to the basic shit for years, since the Dominic Brazil fight, and he never went back to the basics, man. And it showed, even through training. It showed that, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Now he's in a position where he's like, all right, let me learn. Let me try and get other way. Let me come up with new formulas to disguise this right hand. You dig what I'm saying? I'm seeing body work. I'm seeing feinting. I'm seeing slips. I'm seeing rolling up under the shots. I'm seeing counter punching. All on the mitts, of course. But I didn't see that shit on, when Mark Breland was coaching him and training him. I didn't see that. Now, he also was, very arrogant and didn't want to learn how to do that. He didn't want to learn how to fight like that. Malik Scott has him in a position where, all right, cool. He came at the perfect time. He came at the perfect time because had this shit never happened, we're never here. But he has him looking good. Now, it's a lot of people who say he doesn't have him looking good because there's still shit that he's not showing him that he's working on. Or that he showed that, we don't see him learning to fight, backing up. Because I personally don't give a fuck. You can throw up 300 plus pounds on the bench. That's a different story when the motherfucker is leaning on you. So I don't think Wilder is, like I said, they don't show a game plan. They're never gonna, reveal their game plan. Tyson Fury, I think he's ignorant enough to do it. I think because he just is like, he told him in a press conference, you're not good enough to stop whatever. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do because you're not good enough to do anything about it. It just is what it is. Now, I don't think he's showing us everything that they're working on. I don't think they show. I think it's a lot. It's hours upon hours of lost footage between the two of them that they're not gonna release. You dig? I just don't see that. I don't think that they're broadcasting everything that they're working on. So I do think I wouldn't doubt if there's back foot action going on that he's, trying to implement into his repertoire, being Malik Scott. So I think it is other things that that he's doing outside of being broadcasting it on social media. Where I think where he's coming in, where he's really doing Deontay Wilder a disservice at, is continuing to be this yes man and kind of like bowing down. Proverbially bowing down. He still has this aura about him where it's like a boss. You know what I'm saying? Like he kisses Deontay Wilder's pink, like he's the ring. Y'all kneel and kiss the motherfucking ring like Nas said. It's just, I don't know, man. And it's one thing to build your man up, build his confidence back up. I get that, man, but it's also another thing to where it's like, all right, bro, this ain't you building him up. This is kind of dick riding right now. I don't think he's doing him service by pandering to a lot of the shit that he's pandering to. I don't think he should be speaking for him, and even in interviews, it's like he just kind of just sits back and just let my secretary talk to you. At the press conference, let my secretary talk to you. It's like he can't talk on his own if you're there. Now, granted, that could very much so be Wilder saying you just have you're quicker with your wording. You know what I'm saying? You are far more articulate than I am, so I'll let you speak for me. It could very much so be that, but that's just not the energy that I'm getting. as boisterous as this man has been for years, now he kind of just wants to sit back and play the, nah, man, I'm focused. Like, I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. And I can't get jiggy with this shit, man. I can't get jiggy with it. That shit is whack to me, bro. You have him looking good on the mitts. I don't know what your sparring is like. I don't know who his sparring partners is, but I think you should be preparing this man mentally. I know fuck it. You should be preparing this man mentally if he was to lose this fight. Because this man is completely out of his mind at this moment. He is completely whacked out of his mind. And you are talking about a nigga who could be mentally broken if he loses this fight. If Tyson Fury does what he does to him again, where do we go from here? Where does he go from here? That man is walking a thin line between sane and insanity. And I think that shit isn't getting addressed. Not by his yes men. And you kind of come off as a yes man with a lot of the shit that you have been saying. Speaking for him, you don't want to speak. Like, nah, bro. Oh. He's 10 times greater than Ali was in the ring. He's Ali outside of the ring. Y'all keep making these comparisons to him and Muhammad Ali. He is not that. I really need y'all to stop that shit. Anthony Joshua went out on a motherfucking protest and he marched with the people over there in London. We finna call that nigga Ali? Hell no, we're not. And that's my man. When you talk about Ali or being Ali-like, you're talking about a global icon. Global. When I say, like, I had a lot of people get on my head about this, but when Nipsey Hussle got assassinated, I'm like, that's a modern day Malcolm X right there. That's a modern day Marcus Garvey right there. Why? Because he put into his people. He was in a position financially to stimulate their immediate economy of the Crenshaw neighborhood. Employing his people through the store. Talking about developing an apartment complex for low-income residents. Shit like that. The STEM program in the motherfucker, so he's the STEM program for kids in the Crenshaw area, so y'all ain't got to go clear out of y'all way to get the tools that y'all need to compete with the kids in Simi Valley. That was his mindset. Feeding the people, employing the people, housing the people, educating the people. That's Garveyism right there. So that's a proper comparison. Did he do it on the scale of Garvey? Fuck no. Nobody has. Nobody has. But he was snuffed out in such a grotesque manner, he didn't even get to fulfill his full potential. So he's Garvey-like. He's Malcolm-like. That's far, that completely exceeds a nigga getting out and walking in the middle of the street or the protest. You understand what I'm saying? Ali gave up his fucking boxing career for his beliefs. I really need y'all to hone in on the impact that Muhammad Ali had culturally for black people. No money came in for 3.5 whole years. No money came in. And he stood on his principles. Wilder's not doing that. And that's okay. He doesn't have to. You don't have to go that route in order to be Ali-like. You do not. You don't have to go that route to be Ali-like. But there's most definitely other actions you can take to be Ali-like. And you just going and marching with the people ain't necessarily it. Because you're not the only one who has done that. I don't think we're going to get another Ali-like unless you're talking like Colin Kaepernick. Someone of that ilk. So I really need y'all to understand how that shit is becoming a detriment to him. Because nobody hears the comparisons. Nobody gives a fuck about that. All we hear is Deontay Wilder and Muhammad Ali being brung up in the same sentence. All we hear is Deontay Wilder is 10 times better than Muhammad Ali. That's aggravating right there. That Muhammad Ali is known as the GOAT for a reason. We hold Ali in such high revere. You can't, no, it's just, you can't do that. That's never gonna get a pass from anybody. I don't give a fuck how you dress it up. You can't do that. And you're doing him a disservice by doing that. You have him looking good on the mitts. His shadow boxing did look a little awkward. It did look a little awkward. Just, how he goes up and down with the jab. It did look a little stiff, but hey, hey, the jump roper did look amateurish considering where he's at in his career, but he did it. He did it. You dig? I just think I don't think if there's blowback from this situation, where is his head gonna be after the fact? That's my biggest thing. We can do all this talking about, oh man, he gonna knock Fury out, and this. He hasn't. He didn't knock him out when he was a lesser version of himself, and he floored him twice. So what makes you think it's just gonna be what makes you think you're just gonna go in there and just knock this man out? You got him looking good. You got him looking sharp. He's looked way. I've never seen him look this sharp. I've never seen him look this sharp. But mentally, because it's a lot of shit. At first, I wasn't too much like, nah, he ain't scared. It's a lot of antics I'm seeing that's going on. I'm like, man, I don't know, bro. I don't know. A lot of shit is looking a little shaky to me. That cannot be ignored. It can't be ignored. I think you really, and maybe you are doing this. You're saying, y'all tight like that, so maybe you are sitting behind the scenes with him and really politicking with him and doing. Maybe you are. I hope you are. Because at this point, he needs to begin to heal mentally and begin to accept what happened to him. And he hasn't accepted that yet. I don't know who that is. And y'all haven't allowed him to accept it. Because y'all keep enabling the goofy shit. So I think therapy sessions are just as tantamount as fucking workout sessions. Just, man, maybe you are, because you're a lot more eloquent with your words. So you can, it's easier for you to get a point across. You have a bigger vocabulary. You're a lot quicker with your tongue. You can talk and keep the ears of the people. Maybe you can install that shit into your man. Not that pet, but just install something in them where it's like, all right, bro, like, where you can hint at certain shit and he can understand where it is you're going, but you dress it up in a manner to where it's an easier pill to swallow. It's digestible. All right, cool. I don't feel offended, and I see you being sensitive towards my plight, and I respect that. And because you my brother, I'm gonna take that from you. I think that's the route that you need to be taking with that, brother. And maybe you are. Maybe you are. I don't know, man. But at a surface level, it just doesn't look like that. At a surface level, it looks like you really is just, you're pandering. You're pandering, man, and you're patting him on the ass, and he's 10 times better than Ali. Like, what would possess you to say something like that? Y'all are not doing that man any favors by doing that. Y'all are not doing him favors by doing that. You want to help that man out, get him right, make sure he's in a proper mental state. Otherwise, all this shit is gonna be null and void on fight night if he loses. Even with the tools that you are trying to acquire with this man, you didn't have enough time to refine them. I don't know who he's sparring. I don't know who he's sparring, but that's how I feel about it, man. It wasn't enough time, but nonetheless, he does look good. In a year and change of repetitiveness can really, it could bear good fruit. So I'm not saying that he can't win the fight. I don't think he's gonna win the fight. I think he's gonna get brutalized in there. But that's besides the fact. He can most definitely go in there and win the fight. He still has the fucking, that what they call on Loki, the pruner. He just disintegrate a nigga. He has that in his right hand. I won't be stupid and say that he doesn't. I'm not gonna say that he has no chance in this fight. Deontay Wilder is the literal epitome of a puncher's chance with that right hand. But I'm just saying, I will start working on him mentally. We got to sit down, we got to build, we got to conversate. Every workout set, every session, after every session, y'all sit down and y'all really get to a point where y'all can bond, where you can spill some shit, some real shit into this man. Because a lot of shit that I'm seeing is like cringeworthy. The bench press shit, that shit was like, bro, you are looking like you playing this man's game. You're playing his game. You know, every time you get on an interview, a 78 Sports interview, you just overtly talking. He did that, now granted, they would love to hear from you as his coach and as an ex-professional fighter, but the objective is to talk to the champ. And the champ is just sitting back with his headphones in like, yup. Like, It's just, y'all keep coddling this nigga, man. Like, it could be to his detriment later on if the fight goes in the opposite direction in which they're planning it to. So that's my thing, man. You got him looking good from a physical standpoint. He always is in shape. But it's, certain shit just, nah, man. Y'all, that bench pressing video just should have not ever been loaded. You seen the man leg coming? His leg coming up. Shit. His leg coming up and all that, man. Like, nah, man. Nah, that ain't the move with you. That ain't the move with you, man. You just threw 300 on there just to prove something because Tyson Fury said he was coming in at 300 pounds. Nah, bro. The whole Jermell Charlo thing, the Chris Colbert thing, and then allegedly, now they're trying to cover it up. Even though Nestor has said he has text messaging of your team telling you to take that video down or talking to you about it. Now it's all, man, we had nothing to do with that. It's like, oh, okay. Like I said, you try to get Paulie Malignaggi fired from him going against Fury when he said he thought that you lost. You did. You're mentally fragile. You honestly are. Despite you talking to I'm a king shit and this black empowerment shit, you're mentally fragile. You're mentally fragile, and you just never thought it would come like this, in this type of fashion. And now that it's here, you don't know how to deal with the situation, and nobody around you is man enough to tell you, bro, we got to do, because niggas want a job still. And they just don't want to hurt your feelings. I'm not gonna front. I'm not a nigga that could just, that would just. I'm not a dude who would just talk and tell somebody, "Hey man, you got this and that and the third." I don't like being the one to highlight people's flaws, unless I'm backed into a corner. Now we gotta have a conversation, and that's through a while. A minute of you aggravating me because your mouth is too slick. But in this situation, this is looking like a mental health case, or close to it. Very much so close to it with just how he's acting, the videos that he's uploading, and it's just looking like you're trying to keep up with Fury in the mind games realm, and you just can't compete in that realm. You can't survive in that world. That's not your lane. That's not. It's like, what's my man Umar and Tariq Nasheed when they got into it. Tariq Nasheed is a fucking comedian. He is a jokester. That's not Umar's lane. So when Tariq went to going and teeing off on that nigga in that stupid, dumb, herpy hotep walrus thing, he tried to match his energy, and it's like, that's not your lane, bro. You can't compete there. You can't compete with Tyson Fury and head games and, wittiness and all that shit. That's not your lane. You stick to what it is that you know. The fact that you trying to bench press and everything is showing me that mentally he's getting to you. You've never been a nigga that, that's gonna come forward and push somebody back like that. That's not your game. You've never been that dude. You've never been that dude. And now it's like you're trying to really, man, listen, man. Malik Scott pours some other shit into that man outside of just being outside of just making him look presentable for social media. Because if he loses, even in the fight, if he's losing, y'all thought about that? If he's losing the fight, what type tactics he may resort to? You dig? He already has it in his mind made up. He just did an interview talking about, you don't think they coming in with a plan to cheat again? He already has it in his mind. Yo, these niggas is coming at you, so I'm gonna get to you before you get to me. You talking rabbit punching and some more shit, man. Like, y'all not looking at the everybody thinks surface level, man. Like, y'all gotta dig beneath the surface. Y'all gotta dig. And at this point, it ain't looking too good for him just where he's at psychologically, man. And that's something that needs to be really handled with a level of delicacy. The same energy you putting into throwing up all these of training videos of him hitting the mitts, put that same energy into making sure that man's head is right after the session. After the session. I can tell you not doing that because I don't see any growth from him with his maturity or with just, I don't see it. I don't see it. I see the same Deontay Wilder talking the same bullshit. This time he's just mad. He's madder about it. He's mad that he lost. He's not accepting that he lost, and you're not doing nothing that makes sure that he's getting on the path to acceptance. You're just enabling him. If that's your brother, you love that nigga, you make sure that man's head is on the right path for the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. Because y'all can say whatever it is y'all want to say about that nigga, talk about he wasn't depressed. I know for a fact that nigga was depressed. As he should have been. He was, niggas take losses, they take that hard. As you should as a competitor. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Ray Leonard was depressed when he lost to motherfucking Roberto Duran. The difference was he got back on the bar and went to work. So there's nothing wrong with admitting, yeah, man, I was down in the dumps. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's how you're feeling, that speaks to you as a competitor. That's a really good thing. The fact that that shit is just bothering you that much and you just really ready to get in there and rectify that wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm cool with that. But when it gets to a point where a nigga's mental health is deteriorating in front of our eyes and you're not doing anything to stop the deterioration, is that really your man? Is that really your brother? Because you're just selling them down the river at this time. I don't think you're selling them down the river. I don't think that's your intentions, but your actions are allowing him to stay in the state of being that he's in. And it's really going to get ugly for him if he loses again. Y'all are planning on a knockout. Cool. As his trainer, that you have that right. He has proven that he has the ability to floor Tyson Fury. He's proven it. He's proven it. But Tyson Fury has also shown the ability to get up from getting floored and finish the round way stronger on wobbled legs. Tired. Moving all night. Punching all night. 12 rounds straight. He get back up and do that shit. So what happens if you don't land that sweet shot on the chin that's going to inevitably just flatlining? That's what we need to be moving towards too. What if this does? You shouldn't think like that. A normal, rational person shouldn't think like that, but we're not dealing with a normal, rational person. We're dealing with somebody who, depression. I don't fuck with none of the niggas say. Delusion. Hallucinations, all of that. That's the mindset that we're dealing with right now. That's the mindset that we're dealing with right now. So all these niggas is enabling them. All these YouTube channels, they're enabling them. Nobody is being like, nah, champ, nah, champ, nah, champ. Nobody is doing that. Y'all can, I'm telling you. You dig? This man is openly talking about, I want to kill him. He's talking about that shit. I want to kill him. You take the fact that somebody wants to kill you, wants to disfigure you, wants to cause you a certain level of harm. This isn't even sport no more. This is some other shit. And I want to kill you because of what you did to me in our second fight. And I know you're coming in there to do it again. I know you're coming up with another elaborate scheme to try and cheat me again. All of these things is a fucking melting pot, man. You know, with my man, it's a powder keg. And y'all don't see it as problematic. Y'all don't see nothing wrong with y'all don't see, y'all are so blind and oblivious to the shit. Y'all don't care to see it. And that's not good. Sit down with that man after you get done holding the mitts for him and make sure that man's head is right. That's the most you can do as his homeboy. Sit down with him. Sit down with him, man. We need to have a conversation, champ. So what's up with you? You know what I'm saying? How you feeling going into this fight? And just slowly work him into the fact. Find a way to slowly walk him through reality if he loses. Let's see where your head is at. Like, let's get to that point. Fuck all that, man. We ain't thinking about that shit. You need to be with this motherfucker. Because if he loses, he is going to snap. He is going to snap, and he's gonna do some real uncharacteristic bullshit. Maybe, I'm not saying that he's gonna wild out and do no ill shit to his family. I would never say that. But just shit in the media with, you know, the accusations are gonna resurface and all that. And despite the Nevada State Athletic Commission and shit being involved, if he loses, it's not gonna be the better man won. It's not. It's going to be, he's gonna try to find another way to add an asterisk to that man's loss. Or to that man's win, like he did last year. And he's not, you know, now it's, you know, you lost both times. There is no rematch. Now he can move on with his career without having to deal with you. It's no court order contract or where we got to do this shit for the third time. It's none of that. He can go on about his career and fight whoever the fuck he want to fight. Y'all need to quit bullshitting and make sure that man's head is right. Because if he loses in 2 weeks, blowback is going to be a motherfucker.